So by way of invitation, I'd ask that you would turn over to Joshua chapter 5 with me. Joshua chapter 5, I want to read just a few verses here. We'll read Joshua chapter 5, verses 13 down to verse 15. It says, "Now it came about when Joshua was by Jericho, he raised his eyes and looked, and behold, a man was standing opposite him with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went to him and said to him, 'Are you for us or for our enemies?' He said, 'No, rather, I have come now as captain of the army of the Lord.' And Joshua fell on his face to the ground and bowed down and said to him, 'What has my Lord to say to his servant?' And the captain of the Lord's army said to Joshua, 'Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy.' And Joshua did so." Put yourself in Joshua's shoes here for just a moment. They're camped by Jericho, right? They're near their enemies. This is a time of battle and of war. And he sees this figure, and he asks him this simple question, "Are you for us or against us?" And what an odd reply that he receives. "No." What do you mean, no? That doesn't answer my question, right? The man, the captain of the army of the Lord, is saying, no, he is for God. He is captain of the army of the Lord, right? Joshua was asking the wrong question. Are you for us or against us? And essentially, the answer he received is, I am on the Lord's side, right? And again, think how that must have seemed to Joshua for a moment. Israel is the chosen nation, right? Israel is God's chosen people. We're in the right. We are the good guys, right? Well, of course you would be for us. But he's saying, no, I am for God. And that might seem like an odd distinction for a moment until you think about the fact that Israel was not always for God, although they should have been. Many times Israel was for Israel and did what Israel wanted, despite what God wanted. They would often pursue their own interests and do what they wanted to do and ignore commands and directives from God. And so the captain of the army of the Lord is reminding him whose side really matters. It's the Lord's side, not Israel's side, right? Now, as people, as humans, we are very good at picking sides. When we watch sports, we generally have an easy time picking one of the teams that we want to cheer for. When we read a book, we might side with one character over another. We choose that, right? When we're more serious about things, maybe we're a little bit more like Joshua. Are you for my nation or our enemies, right? We could insert that ourselves and say, are you for America or are you for America's enemies, right? We could talk about all kinds of different divisions and ways that we divide ourselves up. We could talk about political parties. Are you for my party or the other party, right? We could do that too. But at the end of the day, we should be asking ourselves if we are on the Lord's side, because that's the side that matters. We may think that in life, we're picking the right side, but we should always be double checking to make sure that side is indeed on God's side. Because as humans, we're not always faithful. We read that God's faithfulness is everlasting, but humans' faithfulness is not everlasting. We need to be careful when we pick sides, and we need to remind ourselves to always be double checking ourselves. Again, it's so easy to lose sight of that. It's so easy to say, well, this person's on my side or this person's against me, right? It's easy to make those divides. And we can easily lose sight of the side that really matters. So we need to constantly be reminding ourselves of this, as the captain of the army of the Lord reminded Joshua. But there are times when we do lose sight of what we should be doing, of whose side we should be on. We should be on the Lord's side. Sometimes when we lose sight of this, we get ourselves tangled up in things that we shouldn't. The divisions of the world that we live in distract us as we pilgrim on towards heaven. Sometimes those distractions lead us into temptation, into snares and things, and we get tripped up and we lose our way. That happens to us occasionally. That's why we have this time of invitation, so that we can get back on the Lord's side, so that we can make those things right, and we can pick ourselves back up. There's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in repentance. Repentance is what God would have of all of us. The shame is when we stay out of God's side. The shame is when we stay in our sin. And so if there is something that has dragged you away from the Lord's side tonight, we'd encourage you to share it, to come forward, to have a seat on the front, to ask for prayers and help and support from your brothers and sisters. Let us all work together to edify and to exhort one another as we see the day approaching. If there's any need that you have, we'd encourage you to come forward and have a seat on the front while we stand and while we sing.